Okay, we're about to jump into the President of the United States, Barack Obama's 2015 State of the Union Address. We're going to do it live, unscripted, having not watched it yet. It was a couple of days ago. There were a couple of versions of it, and right now I'm looking at a version that's on the Speaker of the House's YouTube channel, John Boehner. And even though he introduces the president here in the beginning with distinct pleasure, his videos actually it's called an enhanced webcast. He's actually accusing the president of lying during his own speech, or holding him accountable for not really living up to what he's saying. So here he is, the speaker, sitting behind him. He's actually allegedly in dissent of the president, but he's about to introduce him with distinct honor. So we'll take a look if there's anything interesting that comes out on that enhanced screen about holding the president accountable. We'll see, but it's probably just some silliness.
Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you the President of the United States. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Vice President, members of Congress, my fellow Americans. We are 15 years into this new century. 15 years that dawned with terror touching our shores, that unfolded with a new generation fighting two long and costly wars, that saw a vicious recession spread across our nation and the world. It has been and still is a hard time for many. But tonight, we turn the page. Tonight, after a breakthrough year for America, our economy is growing and creating jobs at the fastest pace since 1999.
And John Boehner's page says 8.7 million Americans remain unemployed. That doesn't mean anything to me either way, though. The whole unemployment thing, as if it's the government's job to employ everyone. What are we, Nazi fascists? The whole concept of government employing, ensuring employment is down, as if they should control us working for major corporations that are killing people, is disgusting to me. The concept of the government's involvement in employment is disgusting. Listen to them talking. More of our kids are graduating. What are we, in the fucking Clone Wars here? We're under the President of the United States, going to college under the President, getting jobs under the President. What do we, work for the President now?
And we are as free from the grip of foreign oil as we've been in almost 30 years.
After we just fought two huge wars for oil and killed a bunch of innocent people all over the country, we are free from the grip of oil.
For the first time since 9/11, our combat mission in Afghanistan is over. Six years ago, nearly 180,000 American troops served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Today, fewer than 15,000 remain. And we salute the courage and sacrifice of every man and woman in this 9/11 generation who has served to keep us safe. We are humbled and grateful for your service.
Are they going to clap like Bon Jovi fans after everything he says? Can we have a fluid speech here? Standing ovation for the oil capturing soldiers. All right, enough. Order.
America, for all that we have endured, for all the grit and hard work required to come back, for all the tasks that lie ahead, know this: the shadow of crisis has passed, and the state of the union is strong.
Oh, let's get up and clap again. Oh, let's all stand up. The State of the Union is strong.
At this moment, with a growing economy, shrinking deficits, bustling industry, booming energy production, we have risen from recession freer to write our own future than any other nation on earth. It's now up to us to choose who we want to be over the next 15 years and for decades to come.
It sounds like it's up to you. You're the one supplying these jobs at these big corporations that are creating chemicals and other environmental toxins, and that's the choice, to go work there or to go be some artist bum like me. So don't talk to me about how you're free to make a choice. All you talk about is employment in the system.
Will we approach the world fearful and reactive, dragged into costly conflicts that strain our military and set back our standing? Or will we lead wisely, using all elements of our power to defeat new threats and protect our planet? Will we allow ourselves to be sorted into factions and turned against one another? Or will we recapture the sense of common purpose that has always propelled America forward?
Really?
In 2 weeks...
What common purpose are we talking about? Corporations taking over the earth? Amazon being the only shopping center? All these big corporations funded by your administration? Google owning the internet? A couple of consolidation in private hands with no social accountability at all? Is that the common purpose? Is it Google, General Electric, and Monsanto? The whole world doesn't want to eat their chemical poison Agent Orange food, but we're forced to by your administration? Is that the common purpose we're talking about?
She waited tables. He worked construction. Their first child, Jack, was on the way. They were young and in love in America.
The hell is that?
It doesn't get much better than that. If only we had known, Rebecca wrote to me last spring, what was about to happen to the housing and construction market. As the crisis worsened, Ben's business dried up, so he took what jobs he could find, even if they kept him on the road for long stretches of time. Rebecca took out student loans and enrolled in community college and retrained for a new career. They sacrificed for each other, and slowly it paid off. They bought their first home. They had a second son, Henry. Rebecca got a better job and then a raise. Ben's back in construction and home for dinner every night. It is amazing, Rebecca wrote, what you can bounce back from when you have to. We are a strong, tight-knit family who has made it through some very, very hard times. We are a strong, tight-knit family who has made it through some very, very hard times. America, Rebecca and Ben's story is our story. They represent the men who've worked hard and scrimped and sacrificed and retooled. You are the reason that I ran for this office. You are the people I was thinking of 6 years ago today, in the darkest months of the crisis, when I stood on the steps of this Capitol and promised we would rebuild our economy on a new foundation. And it has been your resilience, your effort, that has made it possible for our country to emerge stronger. We believed we could reverse the tide of outsourcing and draw new jobs to our shores. And over the past 5 years, our businesses have created more than 11 million new jobs.
Our businesses? Whose businesses? Your businesses? They're not my businesses. Are they the people's businesses because they give them some money in exchange for the sacrifice of their humanity and their life and the murder of their families to come?
Our dependence on foreign oil and protect our planet.
Does that make them ours? Does that make them good?
In oil and gas, America is #1 in wind
because they
power.
provide us some cash so we can buy some of their garbage and survive till next week. And get cancer later and then go to their institutions and blow all of our retirement money on it.
The typical family this year should save about $750 at the pump.
The pump.
We believed we could prepare our kids for a more
cultural
competitive
icon,
world.
the pump.
And today, our younger students have earned the highest math and reading scores on record. Our high school graduation rate has hit an all-time high.
He does everything he says. He tries to show with his hands. It's like, is this sign language of some kind? The kind of advanced language he's speaking to the alien starship with? Everything he does, says he does.
Shield families from ruin and encourage fair competition.
That's encourage, the two hands together.
Today,
encourage.
we have new tools to stop taxpayer-funded bailouts and a new consumer watchdog to protect us from predatory lending and abusive credit card practices. And in the past year alone, about 10 million uninsured Americans finally gained the security of health coverage.
Look at that. Charged everyone for health coverage. Another way to subsidize McDonald's and all the other chemical-producing restaurants. So that's what Obamacare is. It's a subsidy for fast food because they're getting sick. The kids are getting diabetes. Everyone needs protection. What are you going to do? Let them all die in the street? No. Is McDonald's going to pay for it? No. They're private. Of course not. They just hurt people. So the government steps in and takes the money out of my pocket to cover the medical of the people that McDonald's is hurting, rather than just shutting them down. We can't shut them down because we lose jobs. It's all about the jobs. You know, if we lived off our gardens, we lived in peace off our fields, and we didn't stack ourselves in tenement homes in cities in New York and LA like a bunch of retards, we wouldn't need to rely on killing people as a job. But without it, we would die ourselves. We really become pretty reliant here. None of that means anything. A stock market that's doubled. What does that mean?
So the verdict is clear.
Bunch of asshole insiders getting billions of dollars while everyone in their mutual funds are getting fucked. Is that what that means?
And these policies will continue to work.
Thanks for telling me, because it didn't make sense.
We can't slow down businesses or put our economy at risk with government shutdowns or fiscal showdowns.
Can't shut down a corporation, even if it's bad.
We can't put the security
Killing
of
people,
families at risk
because it
by
could affect the
taking
jobs.
away
It's
their
all
health
about the jobs. That's how they get
unraveling the new rules on Wall
everyone
Street.
in, the jobs,
Or
the
we
money,
fight
the money you're
battles
going to
on
get for
immigration when we've
slaving
got to
for
fix
us. We don't want to jeopardize your slave dollars.
And if a bill
People
comes
can't
to my
survive.
desk
They
that
can't
tries to do any
live
of
without
these
the
things,
corporation they're relying on.
It will have
Nothing you
earned my
can do.
veto.
It's all over until you get back on the land.
Today, thanks to a growing economy, the recovery is touching more and more lives. Wages are finally starting to rise again. We know that more small business owners plan to raise their employees' pay than at any time since 2007. But here's the thing. Those of us here tonight, we need to set our sights higher than just making sure government doesn't screw things up. The government doesn't halt the progress we're making. We need to do more than just do no harm. Tonight, together, let's do more to restore the link between hard work and growing opportunity for every American. Because families like Rebecca's still need our help. She and Ben are working as hard as ever, but they've had to forego vacations and a new car so that they can pay off student loans and save for retirement. Friday night pizza, that's a big splurge.
I'll do that tonight.
Basic
You want to do that
childcare
tonight?
for Jack and Henry costs more than their mortgage and almost as much as a year at the University of Minnesota. Like millions of hardworking Americans, Rebecca isn't asking for a handout, but she is asking that we look for more ways to help families get ahead.
While stock
fact, at
people
every
will
moment
click a
we've
few
got a chance to
electronic
go on our
buttons on their black box and make
This
millions of
country has
dollars.
taken bold action to
When are we going to
adapt
help the
to new
Rebeccas?
circumstances and to make sure everyone gets a fair shot. We set up worker protections, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, to protect ourselves from the harshest adversity. We gave our citizens schools and colleges, infrastructure, and the internet, tools they needed to go as far as their efforts and their dreams will take them. That's what middle-class economics is. The idea that this country does best when everyone gets their fair shot. Everyone does their fair share. Everyone plays by the same set of rules. We don't just want everyone to share in America's success, we want everyone to contribute to our success.
What do we get now? A website? You can't get that without $1 million. We get a little potential web spot in cyberspace on the electronic highway. We can't get anything. Can't do anything on land because the rent's like $80,000 a month, and only Walgreens can afford it. Because they're selling drugs that cost a penny for $5 million, billed to insurance through us. This Obamacare is intense. I mean, basically now, these drug companies can make these drugs for like 5 cents, sell them for $100,000 a pill. They bill it to you and me. We pay it through the Obamacare. And then these people just keep doing more drugs that they don't really need. They make them more sick, and then they need more medical. And it just creates this huge reliance on corporate America. It creates all these jobs, of course. You get tons of jobs. Because everyone's running around trying to save people from dying that they killed. So we're murdering people in order to create jobs, and then we're taxing people in order to afford saving the people we murdered. That's really the entire politic right there. That's the entire economic plan. Point blank. It's inarguable. There's no way to dispute it. It's 100%. This is about creating a government infrastructure for taking care of children. So the parents can be shipped off to go make chemical food for DuPont or Monsanto, and then the government can step in and raise the kids, so we can employ more people this way. We can employ more government workers to take care of the kids, while the parent is out doing some kind of evil for corporate America. I mean, why don't we just eliminate both jobs and let the parent stay home with the kid? Then she doesn't have a job and the government doesn't have a job. This is interesting. It seems that like you don't need the jobs. Like, here we go. We just solved the problem by eliminating 2 jobs. But then the money isn't moving in a circle. The money isn't coming from the corporation to the mother, who can pay the taxes so that the government can have the control to fund the job of the child care. It's just not needed. The mother now stays home with the kid. Her and the kid hang out in the backyard playing with bunny rabbits and growing cabbage and eating that. It's organic, it's fresh, it's better than organic. It doesn't have pesticides on it, it doesn't have pesticide residue on it, it doesn't have GMO in it. The mother is growing real food with her child. They're becoming intelligent, they're eating well, and they're eliminating more jobs. The more successful a person is, the more jobs he or she eliminates. If you eat out of your own backyard, you eliminate the food store jobs. You hurt the food industry and the science industry. If you clean your house with vinegar and lemon juice residue and the peels from the lemons from your garden, well, now you're eliminating the jobs of the major chemical companies, of the Windexes, the bleaches, and the Lysols, stuff you absolutely have no need for. It does absolutely nothing but poison you and your family. But, it employs people. So it seems that employment itself is like murder. It's basically like, it's hard to put it in perspective, but it's basically the more jobs, the more murder we have of people, the more destruction of lifestyle. It's very simple. It's just a simple equation. The more you employ people, the more you hurt America. But the more you do it, the more you need to do it because the economy is based on it now. So we need to move off the job system, off the government trying to put everyone in a cubicle. When did the government stop putting everyone in a cubicle? The government has never been there for this purpose before. There's a completely new purpose that they talk about all the time, employment, like it's the government's job. Make sure, you don't have a job, let me get you a job here. Geico's hiring. You can sell insurance. Okay, you don't have a job? Boom. Let's get you a McDonald's. Operate the fryer. Give little kids type 2 diabetes. And then you create another job. They can go to the doctor. And the doctor can create all kinds of jobs. He's going to give them out some medication. That's going to create jobs in the pharmaceutical and the chemical industry. Might even get them some equipment. That's going to create jobs in the manufacturing industry, and the Walgreens is going to sell it. So you're going to create jobs at the local Walgreens. Now, if that kid doesn't get diabetes from the kid working at McDonald's making them the food, you just killed like 7 jobs. So you really got to ask yourself, do you want jobs and serial killers running around killing everyone? Or do you want no jobs, total peace and harmony, and no bullshit? That's really what you got to ask yourself. If you have to ask yourself that, just jump off a cliff right now because it's too late for you. Okay? Jobs are a joke. We need to get off jobs. Everyone's got to get off jobs. That should be the number one crisis priority right now. How can we get off a job and make this system work without a job? How can we rebuild the agricultural essence of a community that supports itself, that takes care of itself, that educates itself, doesn't need all this expense with school and the police and the fire department over there and the school system? You know, we can shrink things down. We can become focused on, oh man, we can't do anything. We can't change this. We're fucked. How do we change this? It's too late. Why was I born now and not like before this happened in like the 30s or the 40s? I could have stopped it then. I don't know if it's stoppable or not. We certainly don't have to lie about it. We can at least admit that this is what's going on and this is bad instead of calling it good and trying to fuel it. We can try to find a way out of it. I just believe there's a way out of it. We have to obviously be a top-down effort, though. I really think we'd have to get the government on board. It's really too late for this, the government taxing us and destroying us while we try to do the right thing with our own money. Like, that system's getting old. We got to get rid of the whole government. The entire government is just really bad. I mean, you just have to stop and slow down. I mean, if Barack Obama wasn't eating McDonald's, if he was healthy and his neurotransmitters were working, I'm pretty sure he'd agree with everything I'm saying. I'm sure John Boehner, I think everyone in politics would agree if they just calmed down for a second, got out of the city, out of D.C. with all the chemicals and the noise and all the pollution. If they came to like just a little lake where Thoreau did his thinking and had a real organic food, not from the USDA, but really from the ground, not from Monsanto. They weren't eating Agent Orange. I think everyone would agree with me that, yeah, we've totally fucked up. I mean, economics is just based on the murder of everybody. And getting jobs is really stupid because you're now trading your life and your time to go serve an evil corporation who's paying you with some bullshit money that never gives you freedom, just keeps you relying on them. So this whole institution exists, this whole current government system exists to funnel all the virtues, the life, and the essence out of the American people and into the hands, through corporations, which are being disguised here as friends, through these big, massive corporations that supply the jobs that we want so badly. So all of our energy, virtue, and vitality, our meaning and purpose in life, the government is taking it and trying to plug it in, forcing it to be plugged in via college and jobs into these major corporations. What these major corporations do with all of our energy, vitality, and stuff is they give us some little petty check that's usually subsidized by the government itself, meaning we pay ourselves. We pay the money to pay ourselves. Then they take these huge hunks of profit out of the products we made them, and they take all that money and they liquidate it to a couple of people upstairs. So it's really just a system. It's a big, huge blinder system for everyone to take all the money, all their life and resources, and pass it up to a couple of people. It's like pass the baton. You're taking all your resources, all your life, you're giving your family, your kids, military, death, everything. You're doing it all just to pass everything up to a couple of people so they can have it all and use everything to control us back. So a couple of insecure guys at the top can have all the money, all the resources, and then tell us what we have to do next year by making the situation worse. Then they take all the money out, there's no money, and they say, oh, there's a shortfall. Oh, this bad guy at the top took all the money. We gotta start again. We gotta be more resilient. We gotta be stronger. We can do it. And then they do it again. And we're working twice as hard the next year. Then 4 times as hard the next year. Then 8 times as hard. Next thing you know, we have no resources. All we have is dust bowls in our backyard. And we're relying on some sick chemical corporation to save us from our own lack of habitat anymore. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. Meanwhile, we're chasing jobs and schools. I mean, it's just so stupid. The whole thing's so sick and it's so see-through. The problem is, it's not see-through if you're going a mile a minute looking for a job and trying to serve a corporation and watching the TV and getting brainwashed all day. No, it's not see-through. It's see-through as soon as you shut the fuck up, eat a real tomato grown in a real piece of earth, and you lie at a lake and you watch the ripples of the lake for about 20 minutes. Then it's fucking see-through at that point.
Treating childcare as a side issue or as a women's issue, and treat it like the national economic priority that it is for all of us. And that's why my plan will make quality child care more available and more affordable for every middle-class and low-income family with young children in America, by creating more slots and a new tax cut of up to $3,000 per child per year.
These couple of elite people run the world. They say, let's get a president in there to pretend like he's helping the people. We need someone who's really smart and political.
Guarantee paid sick leave or paid maternity leave to our workers.
We'll make it seem like all of his programs are designed to help us, but they're really just treating a symptom of our problem. They'll never understand that because some guy named Basicc will never come along who's thinking clearly and tell them.
Too many parents to make the gut-wrenching choice between a paycheck and a sick kid.
Everyone will worship him, thinking he's the greatest.
So I'll be taking new action.
They'll even fight to get him into office. They'll start grassroots organizations. They'll call them MoveOn.org. They'll work out of their home doing telethons. They'll try to get this guy in office to help us.
That gives every worker in America the opportunity to earn 7 days of paid sick leave. It's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
And they're going to charge it to us. Republican, Democrat, I don't care who you are. You're serving a couple of rich fucking cocksuckers up top. That's all you're doing. That's what the president does. You better start voting independent, you dumb zombie.
As a man for doing the same work.
I voted for Ron Paul in the first Obama election.
Missed. It's 2015. It's time. We still need to make sure employees get the overtime they've earned. And everyone in this Congress who refuses to raise the minimum wage, I say this. If you truly believe you could work full-time and support a family on less than $15,000 a year, try it. If not, vote to give millions of the hardest working people in America a raise.
Live a real life for less. What is he, OSHA now? He's minimum wage, overtime. What are you, like a labor and industries? It's the president here. Why is he like enforcing overtime and minimum wage?
Won't relieve every hardship. That's not the job of government. To give working families a fair shot, we still need more employers to see beyond next quarter's earnings and recognize that
This whole fucking
investing
thing's
in
so
the workforce
retarded. I
is
mean,
in their company's
minimum wage, the
long-term
whole
interest.
concept of it makes no sense. You know, first of all, the government's going to insist what you're going to pay. That way you can't employ people. They're just going to regulate the fuck until people can only work at these big corporations and nowhere else. But the minimum wage doesn't even make any sense. He says 15,000 is not a lot. When? In the 1800s it was a lot. You'd be a fucking billionaire then with it. So what's he saying? By raising minimum wage, you're just going to raise the rich people's money too. You're just raising the whole picture. It's one big picture. So you get these people making 15,000 up to 45,000, then 45,000 is the new 15,000. It's real simple. There's no such thing as raising a wage unilaterally. It doesn't make any sense. It won't work. As soon as you raise their wage, everyone else's wage goes up in comparison. And now making 15 an hour is now minimum wage. It's now making nothing.
We still need laws that strengthen rather than weaken unions and give American workers a voice.
John Boehner blowing his nose at that one.
But you know,
We need a voice. Yeah, give us a voice.
things like child care and sick leave and equal pay, things like lower mortgage premiums and a higher minimum wage, these ideas will make a meaningful difference in the lives of millions of families.
For 3 seconds.
And that's what all of us, Republicans and Democrats alike, were sent here to do. And second, to make sure folks keep earning higher wages down the road, we have to do more to help Americans upgrade their skills.
Ooh, that sounds
America
interesting.
thrived in the 20th century because we made high school free, sent a generation of GIs to college, trained the best workforce in the world. We were ahead of the curve. But other countries caught on. And in a 21st century economy that rewards knowledge like never before, we need to up our game. We need to do more. By the end of this decade, 2 in 3 job openings will require some higher education. 2 in 3. And yet we still live in a country where too many bright, striving Americans are priced out of the education they need.
Because the education costs more than a person makes in a year. And it's not education. It's a bunch of bullshit about science and biotech and doing satanic Hitlerian things.
2-0.
Oh, he wants everyone in there to be nurses, radiologists, serve this system. Free community college, not just socialized corporate technical training now.
Some are young and starting out. Some are older and looking for a better job. Some are veterans.
When are soldiers going to show up at my door looking for quarters?
Whoever you are, this plan is your chance to graduate ready for the new economy without a load of debt.
We're now going to pay for the technical training of corporations.
Time.
Corporation doesn't have to send you to college or train you. The government will do the training for the corporation.
Chicago, a city with democratic leadership, are showing that free community college is possible.
I see how
I want to spread that idea all across America.
I see how people fall for this, though.
Becomes as free and universal in America as high school is today.
High school, yeah.
Ahead of the curve.
Another place I learned a lot.
And I want to work with this Congress to make sure those already burdened with student loans can reduce their monthly payments so that student debt doesn't derail anyone's dreams. Thanks to Vice President Biden's great work to update our job training system, we're connecting community colleges with local employers to train workers to fill high-paying jobs like coding and nursing and robotics.
Robotics.
Tonight, I'm also asking more businesses to follow the lead of companies like CVS and UPS and offer more educational benefits and paid apprenticeships. Opportunities that give workers the chance to earn higher-paying jobs, even if they don't.
Everyone looks confused.
And as a new generation of veterans comes home, we owe them every opportunity to live the American dream they helped defend. Already we've made strides towards ensuring has access to the highest quality care. We're slashing the backlog that had too many veterans waiting years to get the benefits they need. And we're making it easier for vets to translate their training and experience into civilian jobs. And joining forces, the national campaign launched by Michelle and Jill Biden, thank you, Michelle, thank you, Jill, has helped nearly 700,000 veterans and military spouses get a new job.
Joe Boehner's up there clapping about this, but he's putting on his website that he's insulting him. 600,000 veterans continue to wait a month or more for appointments at VA hospitals and clinics. This is unacceptable.
Let me repeat.
It's always the veterans, the people that lost their legs and arms fighting for corporate America that are waiting, that aren't getting the socialized medicine. It's already socialized, but the veterans aren't getting it. That's what's funny.
Finally, as we better train our workers, we need the new economy to keep churning out high-wage jobs for our workers to fill. Since 2010, America has put more people back to work than Europe, Japan, and all advanced economies combined. Our manufacturers have added almost 800,000 new jobs. Some of our bedrock sectors, like our auto industry, are booming. But there are also millions of Americans who work in jobs that didn't even exist 10 or 20 years ago. Jobs at companies like Google and eBay and Tesla. So no one knows for certain which industries will generate the jobs of the future. But we do know we want them here in America. We know that.
Glad you know that. It's good to know that. He knows something. He knows the geography of the jobs, the desire of the geographic location.
And that's why the
America.
third part of middle-class economics is all about building the most competitive economy anywhere. The place where businesses want to locate and hire. 21st century businesses need 21st century infrastructure, modern ports and stronger bridges, faster trains, and the fastest internet. Democrats and Republicans used to agree on this. So let's set our sights higher than a single oil pipeline. Let's pass a bipartisan infrastructure plan that could create more than 30 times as many jobs per year and make this country stronger for decades to come. Let's do it. Let's get it done.
Let's do it. Let's get it done. Put some more oil pipelines out there. Some more jobs.
21st century businesses, including small businesses, need to sell more American products overseas. Today, our businesses export more than ever, and exporters tend to pay their workers higher wages. But as we speak, China wants to write the rules for the world's fastest growing region. That would put our workers and our businesses at a disadvantage. Why would we let that happen? We should write those rules. We should level the playing field. That's why I'm asking both parties to give me trade promotion authority to protect American workers with strong new trade deals.
All he talks about is workers.
That aren't just free, but are also fair. It's the right thing to do.
I feel like I'm listening to Hitler. I mean, all he talks about is fucking the workers. And what is this bullshit? You know, why is the government involved in economics at all? Competing with other countries. What are we, fucking your bitch slaves to be competing in economic world affairs? Fuck their economics. I have no use for Asia's fucking advanced Asian robots. They can keep their fucking robots in Asia. Don't let them come over to America. I want to turn this country back into a Native American farming land where we live in peace and harmony. Can't just chase electricity and gasoline forever. That's not sustainable for 20, 30 years, never mind life.
So let's give them one more reason to get it done. 21st century businesses will rely on American science and technology, research and development. I want the country that eliminated polio and mapped the human genome to lead a new era of medicine, one that delivers the right treatment at the right time.
That sounds like a fucking pipe dream right there. A new era of medicine.
Fibrosis, this approach has reversed.
That almost gets me excited because medicine's so bad.
So tonight I'm launching a new precision medicine initiative to bring us closer to curing diseases like cancer and diabetes, and to give all of us access to the personalized information we need to keep ourselves and our families healthier.
Notice that they don't want to prevent diabetes. They're funding McDonald's to kill kids with diabetes, but they don't want to prevent it and stop it and get everyone to eat a healthier lifestyle. He wants to find the cure for it. He wants to get the kid with the diabetes, then cure it with some advanced medicine and mutate his DNA and turn him into an X-Men that serves America and beats Asia.
And help folks build the fastest networks so that the next generation of digital innovators and entrepreneurs have the platform to keep reshaping our world. I want Americans to win the race for the kinds of discoveries that unleash new jobs, converting sunlight into liquid fuel, creating revolutionary prosthetics so that a veteran who gave his arms for his country can play catch with his kids again. Pushing out
That's how they get us with that sweet stuff. That sweet stuff.
Not just to visit, but to stay. Well, last month we launched a new spacecraft as part of a re-energized space program that will send American astronauts to Mars.
Oh, I didn't hear about it.
To prepare us for those missions, Scott Kelly will begin a year-long stay in space. So good luck, Captain. Make sure to Instagram it.
Instagram it. Look at this guy. This fucking guy. We're gonna spend a year up in Mars to see if we can live there since we destroyed Earth with our job hunt, our diabetes takeover. Just be smart.
Now, the truth is,
don't support this garbage. Eat real food that came from the ground, from God. Think, use your brain, use your heart and soul. I mean, it's just so easy. What are we sucking down?
Is how to pay for these investments. As Americans, we don't mind paying our fair share of taxes as long as everybody else does too. But for far too long, lobbyists have rigged the tax code with loopholes that let some corporations pay nothing while others pay full freight. They've riddled it with giveaways that the super rich don't need while denying a break to middle-class families who do.
Oh, the tax debate goes on, huh? They're still screwing up. Glad we have someone in there finally to change that. A change we can believe in.
So we stop rewarding companies that keep profits abroad and reward those that invest here in America.
Finally, someone sees it. I was waiting for someone to see this. For years, they've been getting away with this. I'm so glad they see it now. So glad we have a leader in there that's going to put a stop to this.
Build our infrastructure and to make it more attractive for companies to bring jobs home. Let's simplify the system and let a small business owner file based on her actual bank statement instead of the number of can afford. And let's close the loopholes that lead to inequality by allowing the top 1% to avoid paying taxes on their accumulated wealth. We can use that money to help more families pay for child care and send their kids to college. We need a tax code that truly helps working Americans trying to get a leg up in the new economy, and we can achieve that together.
Yeah! Hoorah!
We can achieve it together.
Hoorah!
Helping hardworking families make ends meet. Giving them the tools they need for good-paying jobs in this new economy. Maintaining the conditions of growth and competitiveness. This is where America needs to go. I believe it's where the American people want to go. It'll make our economy stronger a year from now, 15 years from now, and deep into the century ahead.
Economy stronger. This is where America should go.
Of course, if there's one thing this new century has taught us, is that we cannot separate our work here at home from challenges beyond our shores.
Fucking rodent on the back of a horse carriage being carried by Obama. Where are you going to take us now? Biotech, robotics, how can I serve you?
America leads in the world, but how? When we make rash decisions, reacting to the headlines, instead of
We're
using
to
our
lead
heads.
in the world.
When the first
America doesn't even
response to the
exist
challenge
anymore.
is to send in our military,
Countries don't even exist
then we
anymore.
risk getting
Same
drawn
countries that
into
are big in
unnecessary
China are big in America. It's global economics. We learned this in the 40s. There's no such thing as borders anymore. He's just a regional corporate vice president in the land of the Americas.
We lead best when we combine military power with strong diplomacy.
We're in like a sustained
leverage our
war.
power
Where
with
he's
coalition
leading
building.
us to all these locations
We
and
don't
all
let
these
our fears
goals. But what is the
blind us to
ultimate
the
goal here? Why doesn't he
opportunities
talk about that
present.
once in a while? Like, are we trying to build a Tower of
exactly
Babel
what
to
we're
get
doing
closer
right
to
now.
God? I
Around the
mean,
world,
what's
it's
the
making
real
a
ultimate
difference.
goal? Why we're doing all the stuff we're doing?
First, we stand united with
To
people
live
around the world
forever.
who've been targeted by terrorists, from a school in Pakistan to the streets of Paris. We will continue to hunt down terrorists and dismantle their networks, and we reserve the right to act unilaterally, as we have done relentlessly since I took office, to take out terrorists.
Was this the
who pose a
power
direct
they
threat
talk
to us
about
and
going
our
all over the world and getting rid of all the people that are trying to fight back against the government, trying to kill everyone? Is that what these terrorists are? I don't know. I never really got deep into terrorist politics.
At the same time, we've learned some costly
It's like Mother
lessons over the
Teresa
last
and
few
Gandhi and stuff. That's what they're trying to take down.
Instead of
Make sure that they don't
Americans controlling the
awake
valleys of
people up or
Afghanistan.
liberate anyone.
We've trained their security forces,
I'm obviously against anyone who uses
and we've honored our troops'
weapons,
sacrifice
guns,
to secure our country's
bombs
first
to
democratic
enact change. I don't believe it's necessary. I think people need to wake up. I don't believe you have to hurt people to wake them up. To wake up and just watch this in slow motion once, and you know it's all bullshit.
In Iraq and Syria, American leadership, including our military power, is stopping ISIL's advance. Instead of getting dragged into another ground war in the Middle East, we are leading a broad coalition.
You didn't get dragged
including our
into a
nation,
ground war in the Middle East. You
degrade and ultimately
engaged a ground
destroy
war in the
these
Middle
terrorist
East when you didn't need to. Could have dealt with top military leaders and created a peace,
We're also
or
supporting a moderate opposition
just had
in
them
Syria
resign
helpless
because you have
in
more
this
power.
effort, and assisting
You didn't need a
everyone
ground war. You wanted to
to
hurt
stand up
people
to
and
the
take
bankrupt
oil.
ideology of violent extremism. Now, this effort will take time. It will require focus.
It's a long
We
haul.
will succeed.
We will succeed.
Tonight, I call on this Congress to show the world that we are united in this mission by passing a resolution to authorize the use of force against ISIL. We need that authority.
Boehner's saying that they wanted a plan
Second,
before they gave the
we're
authority.
demonstrating the power of American strength and diplomacy. We're upholding the principle that bigger nations can't bully the small by opposing Russian aggression and supporting Ukraine's democracy and reassuring our NATO allies.
In Hollywood, too, you get the Equalizer, the November Man. The Russians are being demonized in Hollywood, too, as part of this plan. Of course, Hollywood is just a wing of the government, and the government's just a wing of the corporations, and the corporation's just a wing of the elite.
As we were reinforcing our presence with the frontline states. Mr. Putin's aggression, it was suggested, was a masterful display of strategy and strength. That's what I heard from some folks. Well, today, it is America that stands strong and united with our allies, while Russia is isolated with its economy in tatters. That's how America leads, not with bluster, but with persistent, steady resolve.
Hear that? That's how America leads.
You know, in Cuba,
With steady
we are
resolve.
ending a policy that was long past its expiration date. When what you're doing doesn't work for 50 years, it's time to try something new. And our shift in Cuba
Amen.
policy has the potential to end a legacy of mistrust in our hemisphere. It removes a phony excuse for restrictions in Cuba, stands up for democratic values, and extends the hand of friendship to the Cuban people. And this year, Congress should begin the work of ending the embargo. You know, as His Holiness Pope Francis has said, Diplomacy is the work of small steps. These small steps have added up to new hope for the future in Cuba. And after years in prison, we are overjoyed that Alan Gross is back where he belongs. Welcome home, Alan. We're glad you're here. Our diplomacy is at work with respect to Iran, where for the first time in a decade, we've halted the progress of its nuclear program and reduced its stockpile of nuclear material. Between now and this spring, we have a chance to negotiate a comprehensive agreement that prevents a nuclear-armed Iran, secures America and our allies, including Israel, while avoiding yet another Middle East conflict. There are no guarantees that negotiations will succeed, and I keep all options on the table to prevent a nuclear Iran. But new sanctions passed by this Congress at this moment in time will all but guarantee that diplomacy fails,
I'm living in the
alienating America
past.
from its allies, making it harder to maintain sanctions, and ensuring that Iran starts up its nuclear program again. It doesn't make sense.
I don't think anyone should have
That's
nukes.
why I will veto any
They should
new
not
sanctions bill that
exist.
threatens to undo this progress.
Nobody should have nukes. Nobody should have any
The
type
American people
of
expect
weapon.
us only to go to war as a last resort. And I intend to stay true to that wisdom.
No geographic weapons for sure. Things that explode or
Third,
bomb.
We're looking beyond the issues that
People.
have consumed us in the past to shape the coming century. No foreign nation, no hacker should be able to shut down our networks, steal our trade secrets, or invade the privacy of American families, especially our kids.
Get those hackers. Those dirty
We're making
hackers.
sure our government integrates intelligence to combat cyber threats, just as we have done to combat terrorism. And tonight, I urge this Congress to finally pass the legislation we need to better meet the evolving threat of cyber attacks, combat identity theft, and protect our children's information. That should be a bipartisan effort. You know,
Are we going to talk about the
we don't
CIA
act,
issue here?
we
Or
are
Edward
a-
Snowden at all? Does that matter?
we can continue to protect the technologies that have unleashed.
Is that the
untold
cybersecurity they're talking about? Increasing or stopping? I don't know. Never understand the direction.
Scientists,
Guess I'll have to look at the fine print one of these days.
healthcare workers are rolling back Ebola, saving countless lives and stopping the spread of disease. I could not be prouder of them. And I thank this Congress for your bipartisan support of their efforts. But the job is not yet done, and the world needs to use this lesson to build a more effective global effort to prevent the spread of future pandemics, invest in smart development, and eradicate extreme poverty. In the Asia Pacific, we are modernizing alliances while making sure that other nations play by the rules in how they trade, how they resolve maritime disputes, how they participate in meeting common international challenges like nonproliferation and disaster relief. And no challenge poses a greater threat to future generations than climate change.
Okay, are we going to talk about the chemtrails? Meanwhile, we're talking about oil, too, in the same
2014
breath.
was the planet's warmest year on record. Now, one year doesn't make a trend, but this does. 14 of the 15 warmest years on record have all fallen in the first 15 years of this century. I've heard some folks try to donger around the globe. The climate change poses immediate risks to our national security. We should act like it. And that's why
Climate changing doesn't risk the planet. It risks national security. That's the problem with climate change.
We've done more than ever to combat climate change, from the way we produce energy to the way we use it. That's why we've set aside more public lands and waters than any administration in history. And that's why I will not let this Congress endanger the health of our children by turning back our efforts. I am determined to make sure that American leadership drives international action. In Beijing, we made a historic announcement. The United States will double the pace at which we cut carbon pollution, and China committed for the first time to limiting their emissions. And because the world's two largest economies came together, other nations are now stepping up.
Why are we trucking oranges from Florida to California and oranges from California to Florida, instead of eating our local produce with diesel fuel, burning oil to make oil companies money? That is the number one contributor, according to all science, the number one contributor to global warming is the stupidity of trucking everything all around the country and globe, burning gasoline left and right for no purpose whatsoever.
Or people who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. We do these things not only because they are the right thing to do, but because ultimately they will make us safer. As Americans, we have a profound commitment to justice. So it makes no sense to spend $3 million per prisoner to keep open a prison that the world condemns and terrorists use to recruit. Since I've been president, we've worked responsibly to cut the population of Gitmo in half. Now it is time to finish the job, and I will not relent in my determination to shut it down. It is not who we are. It's time to close Gitmo. As Americans, we cherish our civil liberties, and we need to uphold that commitment if we want maximum cooperation from other countries and industry in our fight against terrorist networks. So while some have moved on from the debates over our surveillance programs, I have not. As promised, our intelligence agencies have worked hard with the recommendations of privacy advocates to increase transparency and build more safeguards against potential abuse. And next month, we'll issue a report on how we're keeping our promise to keep our country safe while strengthening privacy. Looking to the future instead of the past. Making sure we match our power with diplomacy and use force wisely. Building coalitions to meet new challenges and opportunities. Leading always with the example of our values. That's what makes us exceptional. That's what keeps us strong.
Our values.
That's why we have to keep striving to hold ourselves to the highest of our own. You know, just over a decade ago, I gave a speech in Boston where I said there wasn't a liberal America or a conservative America, a black America or a white America, but a United States of America. I said this because I had seen it in my own life, in a nation that gave someone like a chance. Because I grew up in Hawaii, a melting pot of races and customs. Because I made Illinois my home. A state of small towns, rich farmland, one of the world's great cities, a microcosm of the country where Democrats and Republicans and independents, good people of every ethnicity and every faith, share certain bedrock values. Over the past 6 years, the pundits have pointed out more than once that my presidency hasn't delivered on this vision. How ironic, they say, that our politics seems more divided than ever. It's held up as proof, not just of my own flaws, of which there are many, but also as proof that the vision itself is misguided, naive, that there are too many people in this town who actually benefit from partisanship and gridlock for us to ever do anything about it. I know how tempting such cynicism is, but I still think the cynics are wrong.
I'm really naive.
I still believe that we are
The whole
one.
nation is going in the opposite
I
direction.
still believe that together
it should go in.
we can do great things, even when the odds are long.
We're creating all these problems
I
and then
believe
trying to
this
employ people to
because
solve them.
over and over in my 6 years in office, I have seen America at
And
its
they're
best.
all preventable. We
I've
create
seen the
problems to
hopeful
employ
faces of young
people,
graduates from
then
New
we
York
employ
to
people to
California.
solve them.
Our newest officers in
We
West
could employ no one and just prevent them and not get into
Colorado
them.
Springs, New London. I've mourned with grieving families in Tucson,
The burning of oil and gas to
in Boston,
drive around aimlessly,
Texas.
especially for industry. Industry's burning of it. It's just
I've watched
completely
Americans
futile
beat
and
back
completely
adversity
pointless.
from the Gulf Coast
Well, it
to
serves a
Great
point. It
Plains,
destroys the planet so we
from
can send this
Midwest
guy to
assembly
Mars
lines
to
the Mid-Atlantic
move
seaboard.
us to Mars. That's going to work.
I've seen something like gay marriage go from a wedge issue used to drive us apart to a story of freedom across our country, a civil right now legal in states that 7 in 10 Americans
Boehner
call
keeps
home.
doing a lot of poker tells. He's scratching his face because he knows it's a lie. Usually only do that when you're lying. But the lie is so strong from Obama that Boehner's scratching his own face to hide the lie.
So I
Like to get
know
him at
the
a poker
good
table.
and optimistic and big-hearted generosity of the American people, who every day live the idea that we are our brother's keeper. And I know they expect those of us who serve here to set a better example. So the question for those of us here tonight is how we, all of us, can better reflect America's hopes. I've served in Congress with many of you. I know many of you well. There are a lot of good people here on both sides of the aisle. And many of you have told me that this isn't what you signed up for. Arguing past each other on cable shows, the constant fundraising, always looking over your shoulder at how the base will react to every decision. Imagine if we broke out of these tired old patterns. Imagine if we did something different. Understand, a better politics isn't one where Democrats abandon their agenda or Republicans simply embrace mine. A better politics is one where we appeal to each other's basic decency instead of our basest fears. A better politics is one where we debate without demonizing each other, where we talk issues and values and principles and facts rather than gotcha moments or trivial gaffes or fake controversies that have nothing to do with people's daily lives. A better politics is one where we spend less time drowning in dark money for ads that pull us into the gutter and spend more time lifting young people up with a sense of purpose and possibility, asking them to join in the great mission of building America.
The great mission of
If we're going to
building
have
America.
arguments, let's have arguments.
I think we've
Let's
overbuilt
make
America
debates
already. I
worthy
think we
of
need
this
to
body
unbuild
and
it.
worthy of this country. We still may not agree on a woman's right to choose, but surely we can agree it's a good thing that teen pregnancies and abortions are nearing all-time lows and that every woman should have access to the health care that she needs.
What are we building? What are we
Yes,
building?
passions still fly on immigration, but surely we can all see something of ourselves in the striving young student and agree that no one benefits when a hardworking mom is snatched from her child, and then it's possible to shape a law that upholds our tradition as a nation of laws and a nation of immigrants. I've talked to Republicans and Democrats about that. That's something that we can share. We may go at it in campaign season, but surely we can agree that the right to vote is sacred, that it's being denied to too many, and that on this 50th anniversary of the Great March from Selma to Montgomery and the passage of the Voting Rights Act, we can come together, Democrats and Republicans, to make voting easier for every single American.
Hoorah!
We may have different takes on the events of Ferguson and New York, but surely we can understand a father who fears his son can't walk home without being harassed. And surely we can understand the wife who won't rest until the police officer she married walks through the front door at the end of his shift. And surely we can agree that it's a good thing that for the first time in 40 years, the crime rate and the incarceration rate have come down together. And use that as a starting point for Democrats and Republicans, community leaders and law enforcement to reform America's criminal justice system so that it protects and serves all of us.
We're revolutionary, reforming everything. What a great reformer.
That's a better politics. That's how we start rebuilding trust. That's how we move this country forward. That's what the American people want. And that's what they deserve. I have no more campaigns to run. My only agenda, I know because I won both of them. My only agenda for the next 2 years is the same as the one I've had since the day I swore an oath on the steps of this Capitol: to do what I believe is best for America. If you share the broad vision I outlined tonight, I ask you to join me in the work at hand. If you disagree with parts of it, I hope you'll at least work with me where you do agree. And I commit to every Republican here tonight that I will not only seek out your ideas, I will seek to work with you to make this country stronger. Because I want this chamber, I want this city to reflect the truth that for all our blind spots and shortcomings, we are a people with the strength and generosity of spirit to bridge divides, to unite in common effort, to help our neighbors, whether down the street or on the other side of the world. I want our actions to tell every child in every neighborhood, your life matters. And we are committed to improving your life chances, as committed as we are to working on behalf of our own kids. I want future generations to know that we are a people who see our differences as a great gift, that we're a people who value the dignity and worth of every citizen. Man and woman, young and old, black and white, Latino, Asian, immigrant, Native American, gay, straight, Americans with mental illness or physical disability. Everybody matters. I want them to grow up in a country that shows the world what we still know to be true, that we are still more than a collection of red states and blue states, that we are the United States of America. I want them to grow up in a country where a young mom can sit down and write a letter to her president with a story that sums up these past 6 years. It's amazing what you can bounce back from when you have to. We are a strong, tight-knit family who's made it through some very, very hard times. My fellow Americans, we too are a strong, tight-knit family. We too have made it through some hard times. 15 years into this new century, we have picked ourselves up, dusted ourselves off, and begun again the work of remaking America.
What is this work?
Laid a new foundation.
Remaking America. What is it?
A brighter future is ours to write.
What are we remaking?
Let's begin this new chapter together. And let's start the work right now. Thank you. God bless you. God bless the
Tell me what to do. I'm involved here. I'm part of this tight-knit family. What can I do here? How can I help? Remaking America. What does that mean, to remake America? To continue to escalate it in a direction of destruction and global warming? Is that the remaking we're talking about?